I'm Tom Bash, Strategic Partnerships Manager here at Leap. But as you'll see, I'm also joined by Charlie, and Charlie's from Engage, which, just so you know, is the presentation that you're seeing on your screen now is actually built on the Engage platform. So Charlie, if you don't mind, please give us an introduction.
Thanks, Tom, and hi everybody joining today. Really excited for the conversation we're going to be having with BJ today. I'm the senior sales lead here at Engage, working with hundreds of customers in the home services space, build really professional presentations to help you guys close deals. We'll talk a little bit more about that, but excited to be here. Thanks.
Awesome, thank you. And on that note, just real quickly, I'll tell you a little bit about Leap. It's a subscription-based cloud software that companies of all sizes can use. It integrates with other top home improvement software and brings everything together in one place. You can get rid of redundancy and errors that slow down your sales process by digitizing it. So that includes estimates, contracts, proposals, brochures, and offers on-the-spot financing. It also allows you to get a leg up on your competition and scale and grow your business, all while simplifying the sales process and giving homeowners a great experience. Charlie, if you don't mind telling us just a little bit more about Engage.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. So Engage is a sales presentation platform for you to build professional sales presentations that can help you and your team close more deals. And it's the ability to add interactivity and follow your sales process in a meaningful way that's going to help your customers buy. People like to buy, and you need the core component of your sales process, whether that's digital or in the home, is the sales presentation and how you're telling your story. And so with Engage, you can build a top performing sales team by giving your team members a really professional presentation to talk through your sales process.
Awesome, thank you. So I know what everybody's here for is to hear from BJ. So I want to give a quick introduction. BJ founded West Shore Home in Central Pennsylvania in 2006 with the goal of becoming the most admired U.S. home improvement brand. So through a combination of acquisitions and new office openings, he's grown West Shore Home into one of the largest direct-to-consumer home remodelers with 18 locations doing business in 10+ states. BJ is revolutionizing a traditionally fragmented and tech-averse industry through the aggressive implementation and integration of technology. A brief introduction or description or overview of West Shore Home. It's a leading direct-to-consumer remodeler. It's changing the paradigm in the home improvement industry. It's one of the fastest growing companies in a $450 billion market. West Shore Home leverages scientific marketing, best-in-class people systems, and a fully integrated technology platform to deliver a fast, easy, convenient home improvement experience. West Shore Home strives daily to bring happiness to every home by taking the hassle out of home improvements. So with that, BJ, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, we're definitely going to dive into a lot of the nitty gritty and the core components of what, has made you really successful. But before we get started with that, I'd love to understand, how'd you get into this industry?
Sure. Now, I guess I'll take you way back to the beginning. Growing up, my parents had a very small window manufacturing company, and that was the last thing that I wanted to be a part of. I just did not want to get into the family business. I had no interest in windows. I ended up going to Penn State for engineering, and I thought that was the career path that I was going to go down. But when I graduated from Penn State, they had started another manufacturing operation down in Florida, manufacturing some European style windows and doors. I thought that could be interesting. Moved to Florida and gave that a shot. We did that for a few years. We ended up selling that business, but I stayed in Florida and I went to work for a window company that did both new construction sales and in-home sales on the R&R side like we do today. And that was important because I got to see all aspects of the industry then at that point. I saw the manufacturing side, I saw the distribution side, I got some experience in the new construction, but I also got to see the in-home selling experience. And that's kind of where I really gravitated towards. I like the marketing and sales aspect of it, and I like to see the transformation that you can make on the customer's home. When you're just making something and sending a widget out the back door, you don't really get to see the impact it has on the customer. So I really gravitated towards the R&R space. I moved back to Pennsylvania then in 2006, started West Shore Window and Door at the time. We were just doing windows and doors. Several years later, we got into the bath business. doing the one-day bath installs. And that's kind of what really was the catalyst for the brand value proposition that we do today, which is a very fast, easy to execute install that we can have minimal disruption to the homeowner's life, get in, make a happy customer, get out and move on to the next one.
Yeah, that's great. Did I hear, did you say you're a Penn State alum then?
That's right.
I don't know if I can go much further without asking you about this past weekend and
What didn't happen?
the football game with Indiana.
Yeah, that was a rough one.
That was. So anyways, can you tell us just a little bit more about West Shore Home and kind of what you guys are doing today and how it's evolved from, back in 2006 to today?
Yeah, so several years ago, I saw a pretty interesting opportunity to do some consolidation in a very large fragmented market. We're 450, $500 billion total market. Not a lot of national players, especially kind of in the installed space where we're at. So I started to build something that was scalable. We took a strong look at our value stream. We mapped it out. We collected all the data. We really wanted to understand our process before we started building the technology. And I think that's one of the key components to using technology as an accelerator, is to really understand your processes, because technology will accelerate that process. So if it's a good process, you're going to get more of the good stuff faster. And if it's a bad process, you can also get more of the bad stuff faster. And we mapped out that value stream and we started building our technology platform. We use the Salesforce.com as kind of the cloud-based, where everything is stored. It's one single source of data, one single source of truth, where everything's built. And then we can run a buy and build platform off of that. I'll talk a little bit about that more later. But we knew we had to have the right org chart. We knew we had to have the right centralized functions. We had to have a good understanding of our value stream and our process. And then we needed to build a scalable technology platform if we really wanted to be a technology-enabled service company. And that was kind of the plan from the onset, was to be able to leverage technology to build some scale. And at first, I thought we were probably going to do that mostly by just doing greenfield new office openings. We did our first one in Pittsburgh in 2017, I think it was. Opened up a second office then in Florida. Down in Tampa was our second greenfield that we opened. And then we had a couple interesting opportunities to do some acquisitions. And we did our first acquisition in November of 2018. Gave us a footprint and a presence in North Carolina and South Carolina. I believe with that acquisition, we ended up acquiring 5 or 6 offices. That's been a great success story for us. When we bought that company, they were doing about 20 million in revenue. And now this year, in that same geographical footprint, we're going to do about 120 million in revenue. So we were able to 6x that company in under 2 years. So that gave us the confidence to continue to go out and do more deals and do more acquisitions. We did another one last year, give us an office in Louisville and Lexington, Kentucky. Followed that up with another acquisition in Ocala, Florida, late last year. And we just continue to kind of run that buy and build platform. Every time we're looking at a new market, if we can find an acquisition target that we can go in and purchase, we'll do that. If we can't, we'll just go ahead and greenfield that location. So this year we've done another combination of greenfields and acquisitions. We opened an office in Dallas, Texas, Q1, Charlotte, North Carolina, Q2, and then we did another acquisition in Virginia Beach this summer. So, you said at the top, I think we're 18 or so locations doing business in about 10 or 11 states. And that's the plan, is just to continue to expand this across the country, build out a national brand, a national platform. We're planning on doing another 10 or 12 offices between now and the end of next year.
That's great. What do you look for when you're choosing what areas you want to expand into?
We've been really focusing on areas that have a good demographic base for our customer audience that we know we're most successful with. We look for MSAs that are growing, where people are moving to. That's kind of what we've kind of focused on, that Sun Belt, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Texas. But as we continue to expand towards the West, we're going to fill in the Midwest, and we'd obviously love to be in more markets in Florida. We'd love to be more markets in Texas. But we don't really have any plans at this point to expand our product verticals. We really like the window and door space. We really like the bath space. Like I said, easy to execute installs, making happy customers, and just continue to take up some more white space in the window and bath markets before we would expand out in any other product verticals.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. One of the questions I want to ask you, what does West Shore believe in? What's your ethos?
So, from a brand proposition, again, we want to really kind of build a category of one, almost an Uber or an Amazon-like experience for homeowners. I think a lot of people put off doing home improvements, not because they don't have the money, but probably because they just don't feel like they have the time to invest in vetting a contractor, getting multiple quotes. They don't feel that there's transparency into the pricing, or they feel like it's going to go over time or over budget, or once they finally do choose a contractor, that the project's going to take weeks on end, and they're just going to get ripped off in some form or fashion. So if we can provide something where people are more connected than ever, they're busier than ever, they feel like they don't have the time to do these projects. So if we can just make this as easy and as convenient as possible with minimal disruption to their life. So if you give us a call, we can be out to your house today. We can schedule an appointment for later this afternoon or tonight. We're going to come out. We're going to use some of the technologies that you guys already flashed at the beginning here, like with the Engage presentation. We're going to build their bath for them right there. It's going to show them the price right on the iPad. We're going to quote them an exact lead time and time frame. We're going to be back out to the home. We're going to provide them the consumer financing with a very simple, easy to execute application and instant credit decision. We're going to be back in a couple of weeks, and we're going to do that install in one day. And really, like I said, provide that Uber or Amazon-like experience, because as people get busier, these companies pop up providing more conveniences. So we want to provide that convenience to a home improvement experience and really establish ourselves as a category of one.
Yeah, that's great. And before we dive into too much of the technology pieces in the process, love to understand, what kind of team you've put in place to ensure the success of the organization.
Yeah, so when scaling a business, it's not just about technology. It's really about your people and your people systems. So we have a very robust HR department. We have a full-blown in-house recruiting department where we got over a dozen recruiters in-house, bringing in a lot of our frontline talent, salespeople, installers, frontline management, sales management, install management. We have a very robust training and leadership development department. We have multiple relationships with military organizations where they place former special ops people into the civilian market. So we're sourcing a lot of our leadership from there. So the first thing that you really need is a good way to bring people into the organization. We're going to make over 2,500 offers this year in 2020 alone, and we've hired over 700 or 800 people just in the last 3 months. So really being able to scale up the talent that you need to be able to scale your business, I think, is probably first and foremost. One of our core values is extreme ownership. So we believe in owning everything in the value stream, starting with marketing. We have a full-blown digital and media team in-house. We brought agency-level talent in-house. So we do all of our digital marketing, all of our paid search, our Facebook, all of our TV media placement, TV production is all done in-house. We have, full-blown creative team. We've got 4 or 5 graphic designers. We have production people making the video content as well.
Oh, sorry, I thought I might have lost you there. No, that's great. How do you maintain that extreme ownership? What are some examples? I know you mentioned a few, but how do you really own that whole ecosystem? Did I lose you, BJ?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yep, there we go. Perfect. Thank you.
Sorry about that. I had a little internet glitch here.
No problem.
So yeah, so full full accountability for our marketing team in-house, from digital marketing to all of our media placement and media production, and then a full-blown creative team with 4 or 5 graphic designers and video production people, so we can really own that piece of the value stream. And then I think one of our biggest competitive advantages is that we own the installation piece of the business as well. So we don't do any subcontractors on the install side. They're all W-2 employees. So we can really control the customer experience based off of the last mile of that installation piece.
And for companies that don't have the resources that you do, what's the next best thing they can do as far as investing in a team of designers and some of those other components that have helped you be able to keep that ownership?
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on what you want to do and how you want to scale the business and what your ultimate goals and objectives are, because there's a lot of great agencies out there that can provide the resources that you need, whether it's on the graphic design side or on the digital marketing side. But if you want to be able to be more agile and you want to be able to pivot whenever, obviously this year has been a crazy year and there's been a lot of adjustments, and agility has been super valuable for us to be able to change which direction we're going based off of what's going on in the market. Then go ahead and start to build out that internal marketing team and give yourself more capabilities to adjust whenever you need to.
Yeah, that's really important. Charlie, just going to give you a minute there. I know I'm asking a lot of questions. Is there anything you want to add so far?
Yeah, BJ, I'd like to better understand, I talked to a lot of companies that are looking to scale and grow their business next year. And you've seen a lot of success in not only opening new offices, but acquiring successful companies and helping them expand. When bringing them into the team, what have you found to be effective to grow that national brand and make them a part of the West Shore home family?
Yeah, so the technology platform that we've built has really allowed us to be able to integrate those companies very seamlessly. If we hadn't built that tech platform, it'd have been a lot harder for us. But we do a lot of that work prior to even closing on the acquisition. So we're mapping the data over into Salesforce, and then once we will close on a transaction, we'll migrate everything into the Salesforce enterprise software that we use. So whenever we come in and we make the announcement about the acquisition, they're already on our platform. So there's going to be full visibility into the data, full visibility into the process, so that we can bring them on quicker, train them quicker, and get them onto the West Shore platform quicker.
What have you found to be the most effective tool when training new members of the team? Still there, BJ?
Sorry, guys, had another. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to switch to a different Wi-Fi network, okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like that's at my house. I've got my daughter's doing her kindergarten online. I got my wife working. I've got my other kids trying to watch Netflix. Everybody's on the internet and overwhelming the platform. So we'll give BJ just another second here. Charlie, it's interesting, what BJ's doing by leveraging technology to grow into these new markets and acquire other companies, as well as enter into that green space. I know you work with their team pretty closely in helping them adopt the Engage platform. What have you seen from their team that's helped them leverage it to the best of their ability and take the most advantage of it?
Yeah, so when I started working with the West Shore home team, they realized that what they were leveraging to present virtually and in the home was just not up to the expectations of not only their sales reps, but that customer experience that BJ's looking to build. And so they really took their presentations to the next level. And not only does it help them with that buying experience from end to end, having that technology into place, but it helps train their reps, onboard new companies into the West Shore Home brand. And like BJ said, when you can see what's working consistently, having something that's scalable and repeatable is really how you can succeed. And leveraging, technology partners to put that process into place and see what's going to work, see what's not going to work, is really a key component of whether you're hiring your first rep, your next 5, or opening up a new location. And I think the West Shore Home team has really put their efforts and the resources behind making that experience for every single employee a scalable, easy to get started solution in place. Welcome back, BJ.
We see your mouth moving, but I don't hear any audio. Give them just another second. Charlie, I know one of the big things when companies are adopting technology, it's one thing to have the technology to work for you. It's another thing to take the time to implement it and to set it up, the way that it needs to be set up. How have you seen, them be successful in that area?
Yeah, so we've been focused our efforts helping and understanding the in-home sales process for the home services space. And we've really built a platform around that, but we've also built a team that understands, what's working for customers, how to help them get to that next level. And so what we're finding is we typically see people without a presentation or without technology being used in the home, and they're looking to explore and understand what needs to be done to scale to the next level. And so we're really working hands-on to look at what companies are doing today and show them how to build that top performing sales team. And the component that we're focused on is that professional sales presentation that's not only going to help you build that sales process, but understand how it's being used out in the field and also how you can enhance that content. How do you make that presentation a presentation that somebody instantly wants to buy from you and educates them on your whole process? And, Tom, we have mutual customers that are digitalizing that whole process from start to finish, and it makes every rep start to become your top performing rep just because of the consistency and the tools you're putting into place to grow your business and enhance your current team.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think BJ will certainly talk more to it, but once you're able to sort of set up those that technology to really work for you, you gain a lot of efficiencies in being able to bring on new team members, bring them up to speed really quickly, and cut down on that training time. I think it also helps, and you can probably speak more to this, but it also helps in creating that unified message where every time that a sales rep's going into the home, they're communicating the message you want communicated, the one that resonates best with the customers, and gives that sort of consistent experience. There's this, they talk about McDonald's in this way. It's like you can go to McDonald's in New York, you can go to one in Colorado and one in Texas, and you're going to get the same experience at all three. And it's much more about the consistency than it is about how great that cheeseburger is or that hamburger. I know one of the really cool things that Engage offers is the analytics side of this. There's a lot of insight that can be gained from that I think people don't often associate the technology side of like this is really good consumer facing, but there's a lot of back end analytics and data that's extremely valuable for businesses as they're looking to make decisions and understand what resonates best with their consumers.
Yeah, listen, you want to build a repeatable sales process. You want your brand front and center. You want your reps to be top performers. We actually just ran a survey and we found that over a third of companies in the home services space have zero insight into what's being presented in the home or how it's being presented. Just 8% actually leverage something like analytics to view that data. And what you have access to when you start to leverage technology is, what's working in the home? How is it being presented? Who are your top performers? What do they show to your customers? What aren't they talking about? And that's where you start to see the gaps where there's room for efficiency so that you can continue to hit your highest close rates that you guys are expecting, but make that consistent no matter who's pitching to your customers.
Yeah, absolutely. Have we got you back, BJ?
Yeah, sorry about that. I wish I could blame it on the kids playing some video games. I think there's some Verizon outages in the area. So
Oh, no kidding.
working off my hotspot right now, see if this works. I may have to turn off my camera if it doesn't, but let's give this a go.
No worries. We can hear you loud and clear. We were just speaking to the value in the data, and I know that West Shore is very big on having that scientific approach and really leveraging the data. What do you guys what are you looking at, and how are you able to accelerate this growth based on the data that you have?
Yeah, so most home improvement companies have, good data when it comes to sales, and they have a good system when it comes to a sales system, right? They can tell you how many appointments they issued to their reps. They know how many they demoed, what their demo rate was, what their closing rate was, gross and net. They understand their retention rate based off of cancellations or credit rejects. They know their average sale. They know their NSLI, and that's great, right? And they use that to manage those sales teams. But you got to take that concept and apply it everywhere in the business. You should have that same set of metrics for your installation department and for your installers, and understand what their first pass yield is, understand how many service cases they're creating, understand how much revenue they can produce on a daily basis. Same thing with your inside sales or your inside operations. Just track the data. So you need a good way for a voice of the process to collect the data, so that you understand what you're measuring, so that you can manage every department of your company just like you manage your sales department.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to, we've talked a lot around this, but I've got the graphic up of some of the different tech that you're utilizing. Love to understand a little bit more about what tools you're leveraging today, and if maybe you take us from lead to production and sort of walk us through some of the high points of the technology.
Yeah, so you see the Salesforce Cloud there in the middle, and again, that's the platform where everything's based off of, and that is completely customized end to end for us. That is the single source of truth. That's where all the data lies, and it's not just a CRM, right? It runs everything in the business end to end. So starting with lead generation, you see the Salesforce Marketing Cloud. So that's kind of an audience creator that helps share audiences between different lead channels, whether it's Google or Facebook, to make sure we're really targeting the right audiences and bringing them into the funnel. Salesforce Pardot, you see that right above that. That's going to be our email automation and marketing automation tool. So once we get them in the funnel, we can continue to nurture them throughout the process. In the top left corner there, you see 5.9. That's our call center tool that we use for our dialer and our inside sales team. Once that lead is confirmed and issued and dispatched to a sales rep, we're using the third-party apps that you see there that you guys have been talking about, Leap and Engage. So Engage is going to be the in-home presentation tool, very customizable, very, very beautiful, user-friendly. We use that for all of our products and all of our markets. And then Leap is going to be that data validated pricing tool, contract generator. It's going to help out with your consumer financing, integrating everything instantly into Salesforce. So as soon as that job's sold, the back office sees it immediately and they can begin to work on it. And then finally at the bottom there, you see Financial Force. That's the accounting and ERP software that we use, includes warehouse management, inventory management, completely native on the Salesforce platform. We really want all that data to be inside of Salesforce, whether we are doing it natively or using a third-party app to pull it in.
That's awesome. Recognizing that technology isn't the silver bullet, how do you go about adopting and implementing the right technology to help you gain efficiencies?
So again, it's about making sure that your process is right? And having that mapped out and understanding your process before you build the technology around it. Because if you have a bad process, the technology is just going to accelerate a bad process. So really spending the time using your teams to get in a room, whiteboard that process, build the efficiencies into the process, and then bake the technology around it.
I'd love to understand too, what type of efficiencies you've gained from the adoption of technology, whether it be in training and sales and production, or maybe it's in the expansion of West Shore Home. What are some of those efficiency that you've gained?
Yeah, so we're having the internet glitch there. I heard you guys talking about onboarding and training sales reps is a lot easier with Engage and Leap, right? We used to take several days just training them on how to do the paperwork and how to price the job and how to fill out the credit applications and make sure that we were able to sell good, clean jobs and hand off good, clean jobs to our operations department. Well, Leap has drastically reduced the time that's taking now to be able to train those. And then once they're in the field, we see a lot less mistakes on the pricing side, on the scoping side with those customer facing apps. So that's been very beneficial. And then again, integrating new acquisitions onto our platform the technology has helped with that a lot. Day one when we come in, everything's already migrated in the Salesforce platform. We're ready to train their people on the process, on the iPad technology. And within a couple of days, they are completely ready to go on our systems and our processes, and they're comfortable with the technology in their hands. We have full transparency and full visibility into the systems, into the data, and into the process.
Yeah, awesome. Before I jump into sort of some of today's, uniqueness and what you're doing today and the challenges and those kind of things, Charlie, I wondered if you had any more questions relative to the technology side.
Yeah, I mean, so I was thinking about adding new people and the onboarding experience. How quickly do people start selling with West Shore Home when you guys acquire either a new rep or a new company? What's that transition time look like?
Yeah, so if we're just onboarding a new rep into an existing office, there's a 2-week training that they go through. And then, after they pass all the final tests and exams, and we can say they're ready to, get out in front of a customer. They're typically in the field week 3. Whenever we do an acquisition, we pull the sales teams out of the field for about 3 days and kind of retrain them on the West Shore process, retrain them on the iPads, go through the Engage presentation, go through the Leap technology. Some of the companies that we've bought so far were already using Leap, so obviously that makes it a lot easier and a lot smoother transition. Some are still using price books and calculators, and it's a little bit longer learning curve for them, but the reps really embrace the new technology and love the efficiencies that it brings into the process.
That's great. 3 days. Wow.
Tying on to that, what's the risk you see for companies that are doing okay today but are hesitant about going digital and adopting technology?
Well, like anything else, you may just get left behind. Proven processes and proven systems are, people want to hold on to those, but, we're moving into a digital age. And if you don't get, moving forward and progressing towards that, then you're probably going to get left behind like others have in other industries when they didn't adapt to the technology.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So I want to focus or shift focus just a little bit. This year has obviously been unique and interesting. So what are some of the challenges you faced this year, whether it be advertising, virtual appointments, supply chain? I know I've heard a lot of complaints on the supply chain side, but love to hear kind of what you're seeing and what you're facing.
Yeah, I mean, dealing with the same thing everybody else is dealing with. Obviously, the pandemic was quite the challenge. We stayed aggressive at the beginning when it first happened. By having that internal media team, we started buying up a lot of the remnant space, the unsold inventory when other advertisers started pulling off TV. We created the commercials that really drove home the message that we've been considered an essential business. We're following CDC guidelines, keeping people safe and healthy is our #1 priority, but we're still available to come out to the home to do these home improvements. And as people stayed in their home and they were working from home and schooling the kids from home, and they started really spending money, and the home services space is really hot right now. People are investing into their homes. So that created this huge demand in the home improvement industry. And now we're starting to, on the backside of that, we're starting to deal with some of the supply chain issues. Lead times are being extended. There are some supply chain issues on the raw material side. So, we're just doing our best to keep product flowing into our warehouse so we can continue to deliver on the brand promise that we made to our customers, that we're going to give them this fast and easy and very convenient home improvement experience.
What's been the homeowners experience, or what's been their takeaway from the way that you have continued business? Were they
Um,
expecting a change from you, or were they expecting it to be status quo?
I mean, people are people, right? So, everybody wants this instant gratification. They don't want to buy something today, and you're going to tell them that, we can't come out for 10, 12, 14, 16 weeks to complete the project for them. So their expectations don't change. So we have to be able to deliver on those expectations and just deal with the macroeconomic conditions that in the hands that we've been dealt.
And what's been your experience with doing sales virtually? Have you been doing them at all, or what's your experience around that?
Yeah, so when the pandemic first hit, two of our offices in Pennsylvania were not considered essential. Construction industry in Pennsylvania was not considered essential. So we weren't allowed to go out to the homes to do the in-home design consultations. We were not allowed to install for about 6 weeks. So we spun up a virtual sales presentation pretty quickly. We had to obviously put together our business systems team with our marketing team and our sales team, build everything out through Engage, did it via Zoom, and had some success with it. Quite frankly, we sold over $3 million in the month of April just in the state of Pennsylvania, and that was just doing baths. We decided not to do windows. We wanted to focus on bath. So, we were able to continue building our backlogs in PA for whenever they did open us back up and still have the product to go out and install. But what we found is that people really prefer the in-person sales appointment. They want someone to come out to their home. They want somebody to walk them through everything. So we're still doing virtual whenever a customer requests it, but it's probably less than 3% of our appointments, and we're pretty much back to 100% in-person design consultations.
Well, it's amazing. What I guess what are the precautions that the team is taking during these times? I imagine they all have face masks and those kind of things, but is there anything unique they're different that they're doing? I've talked to some contractors that actually have like a fold-up table and chairs in the back of their truck or car that they're bringing out to meet with homeowners, outside, and some of these, very unique and different circumstances. So just curious to see if there's anything that your team is doing, in different states to kind of meet the homeowner where they want to be met.
So the customer really dictates kind of how the appointment goes. Obviously the rep's going to show up with all the PPE. They're going to have the masks and everything that's required. Some folks invite us into the home right at the kitchen table, and that's where they want to have the appointment. Some want to do it out in the back porch or a patio. It depends on where we're at. We're going to get into winter time now, so some of our markets will be more conducive to continuing to do these things outdoors, but some of our markets are in colder climates, and we're just going to have to adapt like we have all year. But we really let the customer kind of gauge what their comfort level is and how we handle that appointment.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Charlie, wanted to see if you speak with a lot of contractors that kind of approach a hybrid model here, but love to see what other questions you had.
Yeah, so the setup for your offices when you're closed, is that process still into place should it need to be leveraged, or are you guys considering any additional investment there?
No, I mean, we have that virtual consultation ready to go. So, should there be, some sort of shutdown again, we can fire that up in a moment's notice. But, our salespeople prefer the in-person experience, and we've heard loud and clear from our customers that they clearly prefer that experience as well.
Yeah, so if needed, the ability to pivot's there, but the tools are into place to handle whatever comes your way right now, and everybody's pretty much trained to do what the customer's looking to do to serve your customers the best.
That's right.
Awesome. What do you see as some upcoming challenges, and how do you plan to be prepared for those?
So I think on the demand side, it's not disputable that we're going to continue to see increased demand moving forward. I think there's going to be tailwinds coming out of this COVID-19 experience. People are going to be staying in their homes. They're going to be investing in their homes. A lot of people are going to have some sort of hybrid approach to whether that's working from home, schooling children from home. I think people may start moving away from the cities, more towards the suburbs. Aging in place is a big thing that we do, tub to shower conversions. So staying in your home longer, and as opposed to going into assisted living or some sort of nursing home, I think is going to be more critical. On the demand side of the business, I think that's going to last here for the next several years. So it's going to be more on the supply side, supply chain, making sure that we're partnering with the right vendors, and then winning the war on talent, right? Finding the technicians, finding the installers, building those leaders at every level in the organization to be able to handle the demand that we're ready for coming the next couple of years.
Yeah. How do you manage to how does West Shore continue to attract top talent? What are you doing to incentivize those folks to come to West Shore?
So, I mean, the first thing we did was build a custom applicant tracking system right in Salesforce. We took the same methodology that we use in our marketing and we use it in our recruiting. So we know exactly how many new employees we need to bring in every month to level load the business based off of the sales and the backlog that we have. We know down to, very scientifically, how much we need to spend. We'll create how many new applicants, we'll create how many phone conversations with them, scheduled interviews, conducted interviews, offers made, all the way to an onboarding. And we have that funnel dialed in just like we have on the marketing side. So again, we can continue to level load the business, whether it's with salespeople or installers. And then from there, it's just very robust training and very robust leadership development programs, because when you're bringing in so many people, you obviously need the management and the leadership to be able to handle those new people coming in.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. You also mentioned your goal of a national brand. What are some of the key components to brand recognition and consistency of your process? And also, tying along with, keeping that culture that you have today as you continue to expand.
Yeah, so you really want everything to align, right? You want the personality of the organization to be aligned with the values of the organization, to be aligned with your brand promise, to ultimately be your competitive advantage. So, we're about extreme ownership. We're about default aggressive, right? Not towards people, but towards getting things done. Everything for us is speed to lead, speed to the home, fast, easy installs, very convenient, minimal disruption to the consumer, and just building that brand all around the culture of the organization, really being, category 1, like I mentioned before, and being a destination employer, right? Because if you don't have the right people, you're never going to be able to live up to the brand promises that you make.
Yeah, absolutely. Good points. We're going to have our Q&A session here in just a minute. So anybody that has questions, I see there's a ton in the queue, but if you have a question, please, go ahead and put it in there, and we'll try to get through a lot of these in the last 10 minutes or so. But while folks are entering their questions, BJ, I'd love to know, a lot of our audience is looking at how to successfully scale, which is why they're on this webinar. So what advice do you have for them, at least at a high level? what can they do to achieve that kind of success?
Yeah, again, I mean, it depends on what they're looking to do, right? Are they trying to take a $5 million organization and build it to a $20 million organization? Or maybe they're already at 20 million and now they want to run multiple locations. Or maybe they've had a couple of locations now for the past 5 or 10 years and they want to move to half a dozen. So really depends on what your aspirations are. But the basic building blocks is get the org chart right. If you're going to be running multiple locations, the way we've structured it and what works for us is to have anything that's not customer facing, right? So at the branch level, they handle all of our sales and they handle all of our installation and they make happy customers. Everything else is centralized. So all of our marketing, call center, HR, recruiting, finance, accounting, IT, business systems, we have that all centralized so we can provide those services to our remote branches and they can really focus on making happy customers. So think about, what functions you would want to have centralized, get your org chart right from that standpoint, and really invest in your people and your people systems.
Awesome, that's great. Charlie, before we jump into the Q&A, I wanted to make sure that there wasn't anything else that you wanted to bring up or had for BJ.
No, BJ, I appreciate your time. It's been great working with your team and seeing how technology has helped you guys scale across the country. Looking forward to seeing what happens in 2021 together. And I'm excited to hear from everybody that had the opportunity to join us today.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so we'll jump into some of the Q&A. Again, there's quite a few in here, so we'll try to get through a lot of these. But first question I have is, when you open a new market, what percentage of outside salespeople have window or bath sales experience versus not having any window or bath experience?
Yeah, so we typically hire people that aren't in the industry. You know, typically, someone that comes in that, been in the home improvement industry, worked for other companies, may have some preconceived notions of how things are done, may have some preconceived notions of what the proper sales methodology are, and we find ourselves almost untraining certain behaviors and certain notions and retraining them on the West Shore side. So, we use behavioral profiling. If they're quick to connect with people and they're outgoing and they're social, we would rather just bring them in kind of raw and train them from scratch.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And I imagine you spoke to it earlier a little bit, but having the technology in place has helped you be able to sort of bring people up to speed quickly and maybe not have to teach them some of the minute details that technology can address.
Yes, I
Awesome.
mean, and we do very heavily skewed use of technology, so it's going to skew our employee demographic a little bit younger. But we've had a lot of success with it, and like you said, it does drive a lot of efficiencies into the training, and drives a lot of efficiencies into their conversions out of training.
What key? So next question I have here is, what key employee would you hire first when starting out?
I'm sorry, repeat the question again.
Yeah, what key employee would you hire first when starting out?
Starting up a brand new company, or
I imagine that's what their question is, but yeah, or maybe as they're looking to scale.
um, So again, I'm big on the people systems, training, development, culture. So you got to make sure whoever is kind of I'll call it your head of HR, is the right person that's going to be able to build those people systems in so you can win the war on talent.
Yeah, makes sense. Next question I have on here is, what point did you begin the investment in Salesforce? Was this a leveraged investment, or did you have enough, cash flow growth to pay in cash and as you were growing?
Yeah, so that's been about a 5-year journey for us right now. We used a lot of just internal cash and just financed it that way. Depends on how fast you want to go. You may have some capex that you're going to have to invest into the business to build out these tech platforms. But we took a good 2 or 3 years really getting to understand our process and really building out the technology and really getting everything scalable and ready to go before we went out and started doing the greenfields and doing the acquisitions.
Yeah, another question I have along that same line is, says, why do you look first at buy or build versus greenfield? And maybe that means like, which do you look at first, kind of a greenfield or to acquire?
Yeah, so we have an MSA tracker where we track every market in the United States, and we kind of have them stack ranked of where we want to go. So if we identify a market where we want to be in, we look for an acquisition opportunity. We prefer to buy companies, and helps us go a little bit faster. Helps us, we're getting those installers and salespeople. We're getting a general manager. We're getting the backlog. It's really our preferred method. But if there's not a good acquisition target for us in that market, then we'll just go ahead and do the greenfield like we have in Dallas and Charlotte and Atlanta. Same thing we'd look at with the technology, right? So buy and build there. For us, it made sense for us to use Leap and Engage as opposed to developing our own app for those types of applications. But instead of just getting something out of the box for the enterprise software, we felt it was better to build the Salesforce platform out to really meet the needs of our business.
Yeah, it's a good point. I'm going to launch a poll real quick, just if you'd like more information about Leap or Engage, just simply answer that poll there. But while they're doing that, another question that came in is, again, along the same lines, what's your basic process for finding or executing acquisitions, and what factors do you rely on when making those buying decisions?
Yeah, so we do windows, doors, and baths. So obviously we're looking for alignment on product verticals. It doesn't necessarily have to be windows and baths only, but we're looking for some synergies there. We're looking for culture fit. So we want companies that have customer experience as one of their top priorities. Looking for good online reputation management. looking for good companies that are in markets where we want to be in, and that, we can integrate quickly and cleanly, give those new employees, great opportunities for growth in a bigger company that has, national brand aspirations.
That's good. Another question we got, and this is specific to the technology stack, but do you use the Bathrop app to virtually design the bathrooms, or find that before and after photos of actual jobs are better to use in the home?
Both. We use a lot of before and after photos, show them the work that we've done, show them the transformation that we can make on their home. And then they love using the Bathrops app to build the bath, to, choose a shower base or a tub base, what kind of walls they want, the fixtures. It really creates an emotional sale for them as they're seeing it and they're designing it and they're building it and really making it their own.
Yeah, perfect. Another question that came in. Our sales have grown over 85% this year. However, our production hasn't been able to keep up. We don't have a recruiter on staff. How did you recruit cruise production staff before you had a robust HR recruiting department?
I mean, it's, eat the elephant one bite at a time. You got to get a recruiter in-house, right? And then that person will start bringing in the talent that you need. But, as if you continue to grow 85%, you're probably going to need 2 recruiters or 3 recruiters. And just make the investment into your HR, into your people systems, into your recruiting, because it's really the only way to scale, is to be able to, like I said, win that war on talent.
Yeah. All right, another question. What technology do you use to measure efficiency of television marketing and focus it on regions where you have the most return?
So we use CallRail. So every single TV station and every single market has a dedicated phone number, so we know exactly how many direct response phone calls we're getting. And then we also look at that with our analytics on the digital side and see the conversions that we're bringing in through the website, right? It's not a perfect science, right? A lot of TV conversions are going to get coded as digital and vice versa. But really having the digital team kind of look at those analytics and understanding where those inquiries are coming from. Obviously, if it's a branded search, it's probably coming from TV, where as opposed to a keyword search is more something coming on the paid digital side.
Yeah, great. Another question. Have you had to part ways with any of your leadership team? Do you have a method for evaluating those decisions? And I imagine, 14 years of doing this, you've probably had to part way with a couple of people. So what's your, method for evaluating those decisions?
I mean, we're just really looking for culture fit. We're looking for people who believe in the same things that we believe in. It's a unique culture, right? Because we have so much data, there's a very high level of transparency. If you want to go somewhere and hide, it's probably not a good place for you to come work. But it's a high performance culture where we push each other. We really want to try to maximize our potential and basically build a self-actualization culture where people can come in and push themselves and accomplish things they may not thought was possible. And they're really going to stick in this culture and they're really going to enjoy working here. And sometimes it's just not for them, and that's okay. We know we're not for everybody, but we want to bring in people, like I said, that believe in what we believe in.
Yeah, great. We'll probably have time for just a couple more questions here as we're approaching the top of the hour, but how many products do you feel is a sweet spot? We are in about 6 industries: windows, baths, sunrooms, patio covers, stucco, roofing, and custom remodeling or design build.
For me, that's too many. But again, we're building something that's scalable, that can provide these fast, easy to execute, minimal disruption to the end user's life. So we've kind of shied away from sunrooms and full bath remodels, full kitchen remodels, design build. We really want to get in, get out, make a happy customer. So it depends on what you want to do with your company, but obviously the more products you add, the more complexity that you add to the business. It's more complexity to your supply chain management. It's more complexity to your procurement. It's more complexity to your warehouse and inventory management. Complexity to your sales training. Complexity to bringing installers in. So if you can be really good at 2 or 3, I feel that that's a better methodology than trying to be everything to everybody.
Yeah, right. It reminds me of that saying, jack of all trades, master of none, right? It's better to be good at those few select trades than trying to do all of them. I think, last question here, maybe one more after this, but how many years did it take from starting the business in 2006 until you built a full process you believed was scalable? And how quickly did growth take off when you felt confident in the business model as a scalable system?
Yeah, so I mean, the first 6 or 7 years of the business, we were just one location. Scalability wasn't top of mind. It was just building a business that could give a great customer experience. Building the scalability in the platform was about a 3 or 4 year journey until we felt really good about being able to do 5, 6, 7 new offices per year. And then, like I said, we're probably going to add about 12 locations in the next 15 months. So we're just going to continue to put more markets and more opportunity on the platform.
Awesome. Well, I know we're approaching the top of the hour here, so BJ, really want to thank you for your time. People I know are still asking some questions, and if you have more, please feel free to reach out to us, and we'll get those over to BJ and try to get those answered for you. But I want to say thank you for your time, thank you for your business, and really appreciate you coming on today.
Yeah, no problem, guys. Thanks a lot. Sorry for the internet issues earlier, but appreciate the time.
Yeah, no worries at all. Appreciate it. Thanks everyone for showing up.